So today what we're going to do is we're going to be talking about pre-travel, okay, before you actually go, and some of the important kind of things you need to take with you. And a piece of equipment I know about, okay, you know about, but some people forget about, is the first aid kit. Okay, so a really good first aid kit, I mean, we do it at zero risk, is it goes a long way. It's a lifesaver. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to pass it over to you. And Remy's going to kind of take you through some of the content of just exactly what you need as well, because I've seen some really good first aid kits and I've seen some shockers, and I'm sure you have too. And some of the stuff that we've seen is a first aid kit really to be, to me anyway, and correct me if I'm wrong, but it's actually an emergency piece of kit that you need to respond to an incident or whatever before you get to hospital. But what I've seen in there is kind of hair gel, condoms. I've seen kind of drugs, different other kind of, antibiotics and this, that, and the other. And it's all been stuffed into one pack. But what I feel anyway is that when, the dead of night, when you want to try and get hold of it, you need to be able to get to it quickly. Take us through, Rim.
100%. I totally agree, Tony. Some of the first aid kits out there are interesting, to say the least. I agree with you in how it needs to be packed as well. This should only be used, it should be condensed, small, slim. You want to be able to put it in your day bag. When you're walking around, have it on you somewhere. It needs to be small, compact, but have all the important stuff that you need in it. Most importantly, I'm going to actually start on these because I'm a big, firm believer in paperwork. Okay. Having a manifest of what's actually meant to be in the first aid kit is super important. I like to cut it down and laminate it. I'm just a bit pedantic with stuff like that. But it tells you what's meant to be in it, and if you do use any of the items, you know how to restock it. Or if you're traveling with a company and you just use sort of corporate kits, knowing that you've got everything in it, so in a time of need, you've got all the equipment in it you need to potentially save a life, to make your life more comfortable. It also comes with a first aid kit basic guide. So those of us who aren't as comfortable with medical training or first aid in general, that's always good to just flick through and know what to do. In the kits as well, we have our Band-Aids. This is more of a comfort. There's nothing worse than getting a paper cut, especially in a country that cleanliness isn't as high on the priority list. I always feel so much better when I've got it covered up, and it just a lot more peace of mind. We also have our thermal blankets or our space blankets. These are really good in the events of motor vehicle accidents. If we start delving into things like shock, it keeps them nice and warm, as well as any colder environments. Make sure that all that body heat's trapped inside the space blanket. We've got small things, we've got little scissors. These are great too. Cute. They remind me of little craft ones. So we have our medical scissors here, which are good for cutting tape, cutting through bandages, things like that. We have smaller scissors. I personally would swap these out for just a pair of trauma shears.
Oh yeah.
Just to get through the clothing if need be. Especially if you're talking about burns and things like that, you want to be able to cut things off straight away so it doesn't stick to the skin or the body.
Just a quick point on that as well, because I think that for those who are watching, I find that you've got to be careful about the scissors when you actually kind of in the carry-on.
Yeah.
You're going to lose them, aren't you, really?
The rule currently, I have this dilemma at the airport quite frequently. It is 6.5 centimeters. The actual scissor bit of it cannot extend past 6.5 centimeters. Trauma shears are exactly 6.5 centimeters.
They're kind of blunt on the end though, aren't they?
They are, but they're still
big. Yeah. Okay.
What else do we have? We've got our triangle bandages. These are fabulous for any breaks, strains, sprains.
Yep.
Really good for if you've got, say, a broken leg, for example. Really good to anchor the feet together to keep the legs nice and straight while you splint it into place. Oh,
here we go.
Thing. Our gloves, our
surgical gloves.
So super important, especially if you're dealing with a member of public, even another colleague. Please don't get offended if somebody puts a pair of gloves on before they treat you. It's just one of our preventative measures.
Yeah.
It's just to make sure that nothing gets onto your hands, into your hands, and also make sure that nothing gets into the wound.
Yeah.
Most importantly.
Yep.
You don't want to have somebody who hasn't washed their hand all day, gone to the bathroom, then treating a wound, no matter how big or small it is. Gloves, 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 very important.
Love that.
We've got an iPad as well.
Yep.
These are really efficient, especially when we get things in our eye.
Yep.
So we want to make sure that these are nice and damp when we're putting them in and around the eye as well. And we want to put them on very gently, hold them into place very, very gently if we're going to bandage it up.
Now these are good, aren't they?
Yeah, they really are. So we've got a set of Steri strips, or our wound closure strips. These are really good for those bigger wounds that a Band-Aid won't fix. With these, we want to make sure we close the wound and then put the Steri strips over the top, holding that into place. But once we put these on, we still want to maintain that positive pressure on it so that all of that plasma ooze sort of stuff then starts binding it together.
Perfect.
Very good accessory, and we'll keep it shut until we can get additional medical assistance. We've got some non-stick dressing.
Non-fluffy dressing. Yeah.
Yes, very, very fabulous.
Madeline. Yeah.
We've got our gauze swab as well, so this is really good for cleaning out small wounds. Also really good for just soothing things as well. We also have our larger bandage. So that's got our adhesive dressing and some adhesive on top as well.
Yep.
Banded it down. And then we have our saline water. This is really good if you have any debris in the eye. You want to flush it with this, nice, and it does come out at a rapid rate if you squeeze it too hard, so nice and gentle. Good to put on the gauze that we had earlier to clean out wounds.
Yep.
Because of the direct pressure of this and the accurate pressure of it. It's really good to clean out smaller wounds if there's rocks, gravel, dirt in it.
Oh wow, okay, never thought of that.
Kind of pressure washes it out a little bit.
Yeah.
So you're not having to get your fingers in it too much.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But that can also be used for kind of the irrigation of the eyes, couldn't it? And also, what was the other one? Oh, burns.
Burns, yeah.
Yeah, okay, scalds. Fantastic.
We've got our small bandages.
Yep.
These ones are great. If we're in Australia, we've got snake bites, spider bites. Good just to, if you've got small abrasions on the skin, to put the gauze down and then just wrap it up.
Yep.
Really good for sprains and strains as well when supporting the joints and limbs that are afflicted by that. We've got more wound dressings. So the wound dressings are specific. They have a nice patch of gauze on it as well, and it comes with additional bandage around, and we're going to use them on more of our catastrophic hemorrhages. So when we have larger abrasions, bigger cuts and scrapes, we want to make sure that we get the wound dressings on it straight away, applying that direct pressure. And then
Wow.
And we've just got small accessory pieces now. So we've got our alcohol swabs, so they're really, really important.
Yep.
Once we've irrigated the wound, gotten all the dirt and debris out, we want to then put an alcohol swab or an iodine swab on top of it, and then put the bandage on. Yep.
Wow, okay.
Yep, nice little gauze, nice bandage, problem solved. And we've got some nice safety pins as well to hold different, hold our slings in place, everything. Some tape, great little assist to the Steri strips as well, just to add some more structural integrity to it.
Yep.
And now this is one of my favorites. I always carry one of these.
Laser?
No laser, unfortunately. I always carry one of these on my person when we deploy overseas with corporate companies.
Yep.
So this is our little light. So we use this to assess
pupils. Okay.
so that the pupils are reacting and responding accordingly. It's got a nifty little thing on the side here for those of us who train more in the medical
It's like small,
field.
isn't it? Small to one.
Gauge, so you can assess the pupil size as well.
Wow, that's
and
cool.
sort of what
If it's dilated. Yeah.
symptoms that are related to that. and that helps us diagnose essentially
Beautiful.
what's wrong with that person. Really good to use just if you've got an evening or
Yeah, it
It's-
tends to happen, doesn't it?
dark out.
Yeah.
Good to kind of help with little things, but really good just to get a response out of the eyes as well if need be. And then last but not least, we've got a little CPR.
Shield goes over the mouth. Yeah.
So these are great, and it's got a great little keychain on it as well.
Yeah.
You can keep it inside the kit, outside the kit. If you're traveling around, you're moving the kit around, I'd recommend keeping it in. But this is great if you don't want to obviously put direct contact onto the mouth if
Yep.
you're giving somebody CPR. It's no longer required to give mouth breaths. You can only get, like, if you choose to, you can only do compression. But this is a great option to be able to deliver those 2 rescue breaths as well as continue with the compressions, but
Brilliant.
not have to put your mouth on anybody that you don't want to.
Well, that's actually a great little piece of kit, isn't it, really? Do you know what? I'm going to say this now, is that was amazing going through all of that stuff, because there's a lot of people out there, okay, don't even know what you should pack in a first aid kit. And we sell them at zero risk, and it's to the leisure traveller, the business traveller. But this is so essential to have, because it will help you kind of, sort something out within 24 hours anyway, until, as you said before anyway, until help comes along. But everyone should have one, and I really kind of find it really strange when groups go out and all of a sudden someone says, we've got 1 kit, and they go, well, how many of you are there? 6 of us. And you go, no, 1 each,
Yeah.
because you get split up and all that stuff. But,
Especially for some of these developing countries, getting to like a Role 1 hospital that actually has the health facilities to
yeah,
put those
case with it.
life-saving interventions in place are 2, 3, 4 hours away. And in the medical field, we talk about the golden hour,
That's right,
which
yeah.
is if you have an incident, you've essentially got that hour before things start turning really, really sour. This will help prolong life that little extra bit, and it's something.
It is, and I've done so many investigations overseas where all of a sudden someone's turned around and said to me they had no medical kit, and yet at the end of the day someone's been shot or bombed, or even just a car traffic accident. Forget about war zones. I mean, obviously business travellers, when they're going overseas, and leisure travellers are more likely to get involved in car crash accidents than anything else really, statistically anyway. But this is a lifesaver. And also there's just a final piece there. There's also the actual trauma pack, isn't there, that you take away with you, and that goes in a vehicle and with the client, yeah?
Yeah. So whenever we travel with our clients overseas, whether it be our corporate clients, clients that we travel into hostile regions with, I'll always carry a trauma kit on me.
Yep.
Like you said, especially when we travel into Southeast Asian countries, our biggest perceived threat is motor vehicle accidents, and getting them to that facility, that hospital that can treat them after that, taking an hour or 2.
Yeah.
I'll always have just the basics like this, but I'll have a tourniquet and just more larger wound dressings, and
Yeah.
I'll also have some
Well, airway kit.
hemostatic dressings as well, so
Yeah.
I'll look into products that stop the bleeding, and I'll also have a bag of fluid on me so I can do intravenous treatment to help
Beautiful.
shock.
Yeah. Self-sufficiency, that's what it's about. And thank you very much. Thanks, Reb.
Thank you.
That's great.